Добрый день, друзья мои!
Good afternoon,
Неделя
friends.
правильного питания
The week of good nutrition is characterized by the fact that all food is prepared in compliance with the basics of healthy eating. Let's analyze the options for implementing these basics on cooking examples according to the basic healthy eating menu for Monday. An omelette of egg whites with a sauce based on raw yolks is planned for breakfast. It should be noted here that egg white is digested by our body only when it is heat treated, while the yolk, on the contrary, is digested only when it is raw. The yolk, among other things, contains very valuable digestive enzymes, which all be preserved only if not cooked. To neutralize possible pathogens, such as salmonella, it's enough to mix the yolks with products containing any food acids. In our case, those are fermented vegetables and lemon. We shall now heat the turmeric-based spice mix in a dry pan until a rich aroma appears. Heating the spices neutralizes many of the harmful substances in them and activates the beneficial ones. We put clarified butter into our frying pan. The butter will absorb useful substances of the spices that were earlier activated by heat. Now, pour the egg white onto the heated butter, cover the pan with a lid, and switch off the heat. By the time the omelette is truly cooked, let's prepare the enzyme sauce. To do this, we mix in a blender enzyme-rich egg yolks, fermented vegetables, aromatic herb mixture, and lemon. You could also add to the mixture other seasonings of your choosing. When the omelette is ready, place it on a plate and put the second base mixture of boiled, non-starchy vegetables, see previous lesson, in the pan. Add a little liquid to prevent the pan surface from overheating. Boiling liquid keeps the temperature from rising above 100 degrees. You can use water here, but I prefer to use herbal tea, which is recommended for me. The dish is served in the following way. On a plate we put omelette with warmed mix of non-starchy vegetables, add to the dish base mix number 1 of raw vegetables, and in the end pour over it egg yolk based enzyme sauce. For lunch, we'll cook beef liver with vegetables. On a heated pan, successively we put spices, clarified butter, base mixture of boiled non-starchy vegetables, and pour in a little bit of herbal tea. Afterwards, we add slices of liver, and after a minute or two, take the pan off the stove. Liver, especially beef liver, is a rich source of nutrients for our body. Prior to cooking liver, we shall keep it for 1 to 2 days in the fridge, submerged in a container with water solution of traditional rye sourdough. You can also marinate it in other substances containing lactic acid bacteria. As the result, most of the harmful substances in that liver were transferred to the liquid or deactivated. Then, after fermentation, the liver was boiled in settled and filtered water, where the remaining harmful substances were transferred. As is commonly known, heat-treated food is devoid of digestive enzymes, so let's prepare an additional enzyme mass. To do this, we combine fermented vegetables, lemon, aromatic herbs, spices, and seasonings to your taste. The dish is served by placing on a plate liver with vegetables, the fermented mass, the first base mix of raw vegetables, herbs, tomato slices, and bell peppers. For Monday's dinner, we will prepare porridge from mixture of green mung beans and rice. This combination improves the flavor of the dish and creates a fairly complete protein complex in terms of essential amino acids. In the process of pre-treatment, which is 1 day of soaking in water, followed up by 3 or 4 day fermentation with subsequent drying, beans were cleaned from the green shells and most of the seed buds. These are the parts of legumes that contain the bulk of lectins. The same was done with rice, soaking in water, fermenting, and then drying it, in order to remove harmful substances. The evening before, the beans and rice were roasted on a dry pan and soaked in water again. Toasting improves the flavor of the dish and deactivates any remaining harmful substances. If the beans have been fermented, it is a good idea to add a little baking soda to the water so that the beans do not remain hard during their cooking. You can do without baking soda. In this case, you need to grind the cooked beans with a blender until smooth and then mix it with cooked rice. I used baking soda when soaking, therefore the beans cooked in a pressure cooker softened. We also cook rice in the pressure cooker and then mix the two with melted butter. High temperature combined with pressure in the pressure cooker deactivates the remaining lectins, phytates, digestive enzyme inhibitors, and various chemicals. The porridge is prepared in advance so that it can cool off in a refrigerator for several hours before consumption. During this cooling process, the starches in it will become resistant to digestion in the upper gastrointestinal tract and will have no significant effect on plasma glucose levels. At the same time, such starch will serve as a quality food for the microbiota of the large intestine. Once again, we begin preparing our dinner by heating up spices in a frying pan until a rich aroma appears. After that, add clarified butter, the second base mix of non-starchy vegetables, a little herbal tea, and take the pan off the stove. Second step. We mix cooled-off porridge with the hot vegetables. Thus, the overall temperature of the mixture is no higher than 40–45 degrees. At this temperature, the amount of resistant starch in the porridge will not decrease. For the fermented sauce for the dish, we take the mixture from the pan and add herbs, seasonings, and spices to your liking. Melted butter, lemon, pour in some herbal tea and blend everything with a blender. You could add fermented vegetables as well, but in this case, I decided to add them to the porridge in the form of fermented mass. Now we pour the sauce at the bottom of the plate, sprinkle it with the fermented mass, add our porridge, sprinkle it with raw vegetables and herbs. The main dish of the dinner is ready. Let's finalize what we have learned today. Here we have the entire meal plan for Monday. As you can see, we have also added to the main course basic mixture of raw vegetables from the first base mix. The salads can be supplemented with different additives in accordance with your taste, such as other vegetables, fermented sea herbs, nuts or seeds. Also, chopped fermented vegetables can be added. Salads can be sprinkled with lemon juice, balsamic or vegetable oil. A mixture of cooled-off starchy vegetables can be also added to our liver dish, as their starch has also become resistant during the cooling process. If we evaluate our cooked meals in the framework of healthy diet, we can see the following. Number 1. 3 times a day meal plan, snacks-free, individually catered to my organism to exclude excessive amount of calories. According to the corrected for my life circumstances basic menu of healthy nutrition, the daily food contains 60 to 65 grams of proteins, full of essential amino acids, about the same amount of quality fats, and about 170 to 180 grams of various carbohydrates. Number 2. The daily norm of protein, fats, and carbohydrates is appropriately spread out between all meals. This ensures firstly the prevention of overeating of these micronutrients, and secondly, their presence in the meals prevents peak excesses of normal levels of glucose and insulin in blood plasma. Number 3. In order to purify the products from harmful substances of natural and anthropological, that is human-made origin, they were also subjected to different types of exposures. Liver, beans, rice, nuts, and seeds were fermented in an aqueous solution of rice or dough starter. Liver, mixtures of non-starchy and starchy vegetables were pre-boiled in water. Raw vegetables of the first base mix were soaked in clean water. Beans and rice were subject to temperature and pressure exposure in a pressure cooker. Butter was purified from non-fatty substances in 2 stages by heating it with and without water. In one of the next classes, I will demonstrate you the way to clean eggs from harmful substances. Number 4. In the process of cooking daily meals, we have used animal products, fats, cereals, and legumes, as well as more than 25 types of fresh, boiled, and fermented vegetables and fruit. Such diversity guarantees that our body and all types of microbiota of the large intestine receive sufficient amount of essential nutrients. Number 5. All food was enriched with digestive enzymes that were present in raw and fermented vegetables, raw egg yolks, spices, and seasonings. This ensures that food is digested without overstressing the body's enzyme-forming system, which is one of the pillars of our health. To finalize, we have discussed some options of cooking for Monday with the observation of the basic of a healthy diet. At first glance, such work may seem very extensive, but in fact it's not. In fact, the shown methods of cooking, on the contrary, will save you a lot of time because a lot of things should be done in advance. You may find the daily amount of protein intake insufficient, but don't worry about it. The human body absorbs no more than 30 grams of protein taken at a time, and in total you should consume 0.7 to 1.5 grams per kilogram of body weight per day, minus the weight of fat, which is 25% or more. Excessive protein will do us a disservice, especially for people of advanced age. For example, I plan to take no more than 60-65 grams of protein daily, including up to 30 grams for breakfast, 20-25 grams for lunch, and up to 15 grams for dinner. The experience of many years shows that after the first week and a half or 2 weeks of following the basics of healthy eating, a person begins to feel positive changes in his health. Thank you for your attention.